your forecast first. Sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
All right, well, good evening to you on this Monday that has been kind of overcast and gloomy for much of the day. You can see those clouds still with us here tonight. Overall calm conditions, though, and a little on the cool side. We've got temperatures in the low 30s. We're right at the freezing mark in Champaign right now at 32 degrees, 35 at Effingham, 37 over in Springfield. Bus stop forecast for the kids out there tomorrow morning. We're going to be right about where the temperature is right now, but by the afternoon on the way home, quite a bit warmer. We're going to be topping out near 50 degrees for a high. Looking good. Another big cold snap is on the way. We'll let you know when that arrives coming up. WCIA 3 News starts right
now from WCIA 3 News.
We've known that there have been problems with transparency and accountability with our county board.
And now the board chairman's been arrested and indicted, but a board member says he didn't see this coming. Plus, 2 schools won't be swapping, but problems still need to be fixed, what some say needs to be done. And one group's been fighting for months to save a landmark, what it's willing to do next.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 10.
Something was going on in our county. It just wasn't clear what.
Until today, when the Piatt County Board Chair was arrested. Good evening, I'm Paul Cicchini.
And I'm Jessica Coons. A grand jury indicted the chair this afternoon. Ray Spencer is charged with forgery and official misconduct. The Moultrie County State's Attorney was appointed special prosecutor in this case and says the county board members knew about the crimes and did nothing about it. But that's not what one of the board members told us tonight. This is part of a continuing Target 3 investigation. WCIA 3's Emily Braun is live in our newsroom. Emily, when did board members know something was up here?
Jessica, ever since the budget meeting last fall, when the timing of the board's votes on a tax levy and voting on a budget fell just hours apart. The state's attorney said in that meeting she did not advise the board to schedule those votes the way they did. I talked to one board member who told me that's when he raised an eyebrow, but he was shocked to learn what happened today. I also talked with the chair of the Piatt County Democrats, Sheila Maloney, who says this makes sense. A grand jury indicted Piatt County Board Chairman Ray Spencer, charging him with 4 felony counts, 2 for official misconduct, 2 for forgery, leaving some people in Piatt County, like Sheila Maloney, speechless.
I was actually shocked, as I think most people were.
And why was that?
Well, although we've known that there have been problems with transparency and accountability with our county board, I was surprised at the actual allegations.
All of the charges revolve around Spencer tampering with an email and legal advice from the Piatt County State's Attorney, Dana Rhodes. Also trying to hire outside legal counsel, which was illegal, unsuccessful, and cost the county almost $10,000. The Moultrie County State's Attorney, Tracy Weaver, was appointed to prosecute this case. Weaver says the county board members knew what was going on and did nothing about it. But some may have known more than others. I talked to Shannon Carroll, who says he only found out about the allegations when the grand jury indicted Spencer. But he knew something was going on after the budget vote and tax levy vote meetings were scheduled 2 hours apart, not together.
We were all at the meeting that was a budget meeting and knew that the state's attorney had said that the timing of the meetings was not at her advice.
He says the tension between the board chairman and the state's attorney was thick.
A lot of back and forth during our budget times, yes.
And that tension created a lapse in transparency and left the relatively new board member feeling disappointed. Maloney says, based on what she knew, the charges make sense, but don't cover everything.
Some of the pieces are there. There are still a lot of questions I'd like to see answered.
She thinks it's possible this indictment and these charges are just the tip of the iceberg. Like I said, it is possible some board members knew more than others. I tried to reach out to all the other county board members. I went on the county website and called the remaining 4 on both landlines and cell phones. 2 of those phone numbers listed on the county website didn't work. I sent them all emails as well, and no one else responded to my request for comment. Jessica?
Certainly not the end here. All right, Emily, thank you. There is a lot to this story. You can read more about what Spencer is accused of at WCIA.com.
A woman in Champaign County was sentenced today for aggravated battery. Michelle Reed of Tolono shook and then threw 6-month-old Leyland Duncan while she was babysitting him in 2017. He suffered brain damage and other injuries. Reed was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison. A man in Danville is accused of breaking into the home of an elderly man. He pleaded guilty today. Now, Marcus Edwards broke into the apartment of a 96-year-old, threatened him with a baseball bat, and forced him to get his wallet. He took money and ran away, but cut himself, leaving a trail of blood for police to follow. He could spend between 4 to 30 years in prison.
We have an update on a deadly fire in Springfield. The death of a woman found inside is being investigated as a murder. This happened on South State near Cook Street on Saturday. Abby Niesler died, but the coroner says someone killed her before that fire started. Police are now investigating. An apartment fire on Friday displaced more than a dozen people in Danville. It happened at a complex on Garden Drive off of Bowman Avenue. It started in the kitchen and spread through the walls. Crews spent 5 hours there on Friday and were called back Sunday night when it rekindled.
City police departments aren't the only ones looking at how the new marijuana laws are affecting what they do. So are college police departments. The chief of police at Parkland College went over the do's and don'ts of marijuana with us today. In addition to reminding people the campus is drug-free and that you have to be 21 or older to buy it, he says the campus is smoke-free. So it's important students and visitors remember smoking anything of any kind is breaking the law.
We want to have that communication to a level that's effective, that people know that it's a non-smoking campus, and they choose not to break the law. The last thing we want to do is really, write somebody a monetary citation. We will if we have to, but we're not seeking to do that.
To see our entire interview with Chief Colbrook regarding marijuana in college campuses, head to WCIA.com. New at 10, Effingham is still considering legalizing the sale of recreational marijuana. The city is considering granting the Clinic Effingham a special use permit to sell pot. Right now, the business only sells medical marijuana. Tomorrow night will be the first of 2 public hearings. It'll happen during a planning commission meeting at 6 p.m. in City Council chambers. The next hearing will be on the 21st. If the city approves it, the company hopes to start selling recreational marijuana by the end of the month. A public uproar continues even after the Champaign School Board decided not to swap students between International Prep Academy and Garden Hills. The goal was to expand the Spanish-English dual language program.
The backlash from parents and teachers centered around what they called unfair and inequitable treatment of students. The proposal was taken off the table. Tonight, the district talked about how to resolve the problems. WCIA 3's Jennifer Jensen is with us. So Jennifer, what came out of that meeting?
Jessica, the school board is recognizing several problems facing the Garden Hills Academy and its students. Tonight, the superintendent gave her report highlighting the statistics on enrollment and academic achievement gaps there. Many people were concerned that students at Garden Hills are continually being underserved by the school district. Before that report was given tonight, several parents and teachers got up to question how the board plans to solve the issues. The board members also agreed that more needs to be done. One teacher made several suggestions that she and others want the district to implement to help support them and the students.
Smaller class sizes, certified co-teachers, a resident trauma team to respond to immediate crises, in-depth, ongoing, relevant professional development on culturally responsive teaching and trauma-informed practices led by an expert in the field. These are just a few of the ideas that Garden Hills teachers have come up with.
The board ended this part of the meeting by talking about the strategic plan for the school, which includes conducting a root cause analysis in the coming months. But one board member spoke up saying at this point, the issues are so severe that this needs to be a crisis plan instead. The superintendent's original recommendation was to implement solutions in the fall of 2020. But after tonight's discussion, the board is considering making more immediate and timely plans for improvements. Back to you.
All right, Jennifer, thank you for that update. We have a follow-up now on the effort to save a land landmark in Decatur. The group Save the Pump House says they're willing to go across the ocean to save the building. They gave an update on their plans tonight at the Decatur Public Library. The historic pump house was slated for destruction last year. It's owned by Tate & Lyle in London and has been sitting empty for decades. Save the Pump House wants to make it a National Historic Landmark, but Tate & Lyle have declined to meet with the group regarding the pump house, so now they say they're prepared to go to them instead.
But we're willing to go to London if we need to meet with Tate & Lyle's corporate leadership to discuss our plan and really talk about why it's in the best interests of everybody to preserve the pump house for a fraction of the cost that it would take to demolish it.
The group asked people at the meeting to contact Tate & Lyle to tell them why the pump house should be saved and why it's important to them.
U of I research helped find a big problem with the prescription drug. Now a lab may have discovered why it's dangerous.
Plus, it's an organization that helps teach kids teamwork. They say they need your help to keep it going.
And the Fighting Illini were represented tonight at the College Football Playoff National Championship, but not in the way you think. We'll tell you who was honored.